In this video, I'm going to walk you through last week's assignment. So this is the slot block. This is the finished part, which I'll model in a second. So what I'm looking for in the assignment are that you use the correct features according to the instructions over here, and then that the features are fully defined, meaning there's no minus mark here, and then when I open up the sketch, it's all black lines. Now, the most important thing with fully defining a sketch is making sure part of the sketch is related to your origin. So usually it'll just be a line that's coincident to that origin, right? So let me exit out of here and I'll just delete this. Now let's get started with the actual part. So the instructions say to extrude a boss base 4x3x1, a rectangle with a mid-plane in condition. So the dimensions are right here, 4 inches by 3 inches by 1 inch deep. So I'm going to open up a new part. Now I'll do an extruded boss base. Again, there's two ways to do this. You can start with the feature, do a sketch, and then the feature will pop up automatically. So you'll see what I mean in just a second. So I do a corner rectangle. I'm going to do a dimension for the length of the part. Now I put the origin in the upper left because that's where all the dimensions on the drawing come from. Okay, there's no datums on this drawing, but that's the logical place to put the origin for this part. So I got my 4 inches by 3 inches. I'm going to hit the check mark here. The sketch is fully defined. I put the corner rectangle on the origin, so there's no need to add another relation. So I'm going to exit the sketch, and because I started with the extrude feature, it automatically goes into here. So the next step, I'm going to do 1 inch and I'm going to change the in condition to mid plane. So if you notice, it goes 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch on this side relative to the front plane. And that's mentioned right here, mid plane in condition. Okay, so we're going to hit green check right here. So we're all good with that feature. Now I'll go to step 2, extrude cut slot. This is going to be a through all in condition. So I'm going to hit Control 1 on my keyboard to bring up the front plane here. I'm going to go to extrude cut. I'm going to select this plane. Now I'm going to make sure I have the center point straight slot. I'm going to click in the middle of the part. I'm going to make sure this center line is horizontal. That's the only thing you have to do. Nothing else really matters. As far as the size, I'm going to hit escape to get out of the slot macro there. Nothing else really matters right now. Don't worry too much about how big or small it is because you're going to add dimensions. So it could be this big. It don't matter because we're going to add the first dimension. See right here, radius of 0.5. And I'll do it on this side to match the drawing. I'll zoom out a little bit. Radius, and I'm just going to type in 0.5. And now it's going to shrink it to the size we want. Okay. The next step, this 2 inch dimension, is the distance from the center to the center. All I have to do is click this center line. Okay. And I'll pull the dimension down here. I'm going to enter 2 inches. Right. Now the slot is, the correct size, but now we've got to locate it. So we've got a 1 inch dimension from left to right and a 1.5 inch dimension up and down. So I'm going to select this point right here, the center of the left arc, click, and then click the bottom of the part, click again. That's going to bring up our horizontal dimension. Type in 1.5, it'll bring it down. Now, same thing. I'm going to make sure I select this point and make sure it's the point. You don't want to select this line. Okay, just that point. I'm going to select the left side of the part, bring the dimension down here, and type in 1 inch. Okay. Now the slot is fully defined, and that's all there is to it. If it's not fully defined, it's possible this line wasn't horizontal. And what you can do is click here and just make horizontal. Okay. So that's it for the slot feature. I'm just going to exit the sketch. Well, that's it for the slot sketch. I'll exit the sketch. This is going to be a through all in condition. Select right here. You've noticed there's no depth to type in because it's just going to go straight through. Hit the green check. Okay. So now we're on to step 3. We're going to extrude cut 3/8 inch hole with a blind in condition of 1/2 inch. So the dimensions are here, 3/8 inch, a 1/2 inch from the left, 1/2 inch from the top. So I'm going to go to extrude cut, click that surface, make a circle. Again, it doesn't matter where it is or how big it is right now because we're going to add dimensions to it. Okay, so it could be over here. It doesn't really matter. Don't stress about where it first goes because we got to add dimensions. So the first dimension, I'll do the diameter. I'm going to select the outside of the circle, pull it over here, type in 3/8, and I'll show you this real quick. If you forget the decimal, you can do 3/8, and it'll figure it out for you. So if you notice, it figures out that 3/8 is 0.375. Next step, now select the center of the circle, right? So just hover over it until you see that orange dot. We're going to go from there to the top of the part. That's going to be a 1/2 inch, and you've got to type it in, right? You don't want it to be 0.504, whatever the computer guesses. So type in 1/2 inch. Same thing for the other dimension. Click that orange to the left side of the part, bring the dimension up, 0.5 inch, hit the green check, and now that sketch is fully defined. So I'm going to exit the sketch. Now we've got a slightly different in condition. It's defaulted to blind, which is good, but we've got to change the depth. So I'm going to do 0.5 inches. Okay, if you notice, it doesn't go as far. If we pan over here, it doesn't go through the part, and that's exactly what we want. Hit green check. Now, for the last step, linear pattern hole as shown. So the linear pattern we want is in the Features tab, right up here, linear pattern. I'm going to click. Now this is very particular. The first thing you want to do is select the direction. If you notice this box is blue, just select this line on the top of the part. Now, you don't need a direction 2. So come down here, select Features and Faces, and select that extrude cut we just made. Okay? So this isn't what we want. We've got to space them out better. So in direction 1, we've got the distance, and then we've got the number of instances. So let's change the distance to 1 inch. You can type it in or just use the arrows here. And then you can change the number of instances, right? So we need 4. So again, I'm just going to use the arrows here. And then that's it, right? So we've got the direction as the edge. We've got 1 inch distance, 4 instances. Direction 2 is blank, and Features and Faces is cut extrude 2. Okay, so hit green check. And that's it. That's everything for this part. This is what you should turn in. If you got a low grade, please resubmit this and I'll grade it again. Okay.